The the thin lenses in contact two convex lenses. I have taken the two convex lenses here, A and B. They have the common. They should have the common axis, common principal axis. This is the common principal axis, and they are in contact. They are touching each other. So what will happen here? You will see that O will be the point object. You must be thinking that is why you are always taking the point object, because light from the point object will be paraxial lines. Paraxial lines means the line which will be almost parallel to that of the principal axis. The ray of light is coming from O and getting refracted through the lens A. You are finding you're getting through the refraction through A. Again it bends towards the lens B. Again on B is getting refracted and a final image I is formed. The final image I is formed. The question is here, that is from this point to P point is to be considered as the U, that is the object distance. And if the lens B is not there, if the lens B is not there, suppose you forget that lens B, the ray after refraction through the lens A should be moving along this dotted line. Should be moving along this dotted line and I1 image should be formed. If B is absent, whenever the B is present, what happens? When the B is present, the B doesn't get the ray of light from O because in front of A is there. B is not getting ray of light from O directly. So for B, this I1 will be acting as the virtual object. For B, that I1 will be behaving as the object. As the B is behaving, I1 is acting as the object, so the ray final image will be I. That final real image I will be formed here. So you must be knowing that is from P to I, the distance equal to final image distance of V, and P to I1 we have taken the V1. I think all of you have understood that in which way the ray is getting refracted in between the two convex lenses. They are in contact. So let us move forward. What happens here? So you write these things. Consider two lenses A and B of focal length f1 and f2 placed in contact with each other. An object is placed at O beyond the focus of the first lens A on the common principal axis. The lens A produces an image at I1. This image, यहाँ तक all of you write, the lens A produces an image at I1. This image I1 acts as the, here you write virtual object for the second lens B. In place of object, this is, you can write the virtual object. This I1 acts as the virtual object for the second lens B. The final image is produced at I. The final image is produced at I as shown in the figure. Since the lenses are thin, the common optical center P is to be chosen. And out of these two lenses, because it is the optical center of this one, this point, for B clear this point, the common optical center you choose it as the P. Dono lens is to be considered as one lens. Both the lenses are to be considered as one lens. The common optical center you think it as the P. I think you have written this portion.
No, sir. Wait, please.
Anybody can explain? You are understanding, na?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You write right. Only 4 to 5 lines already, na? You draw the diagram first. You draw the diagram. Once you draw the diagram, you'll understand the thin lenses in contact. Very fast to do it. Clear? All of you write. Two thin lenses, A and B, of focal length f1 and f2, placed in contact with each other. An object is placed at point O. An object is placed at point O. An object is placed at point O. Clear enough? The lens A produces an image at I1. And this image I1 acts as the virtual object for the second lens B. This image I1 acts as the virtual object for the second lens B. Hence, a final image is produced at I. Clear? Next. Just we have to derive. We have to derive the mathematical expression. You know that is PO equal to how much? This PO equal to U, that is the object distance for the first lens. And PI, PI equal to V, and final image distance PI1 equal to V1, that is image distance for the first lens A and also object distance for the second lens B. Same thing, and that data you read. This PQ, that PO will be the object distance for the first lens A, and PI is the final image distance. PI1 is V, that is the image distance for the first lens A and also object distance for the second lens B. Clear? Combination of thin lens for the image I1 produced by the first lens A. Apply the lens formula to this case. Apply the lens formula for the lens A. For the lens A, you apply the lens formula. That is 1 by V1 minus 1 by U equal to 1 by F1. You are applying the lens formula to first lens A. Clear? For the final image I produced by the second lens B, for the final image, B is producing the final image. Or for B, for B, actually 1 by V minus, that is U will be 1 by V1. U will be 1 by V1 equal to 1 by F2. That is for the second lens, you are applying the lens formula. For the second lens, you are applying the lens formula. I think anybody's in doubt? No?
No, sir.
Jessica, you are understanding?
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Pragya,
Yes, sir.
any doubt?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Any doubt? Okay. Okay. Next is you add equation 1 and 2. So what you are getting? 1 by V. If you are adding, something is getting minus. That is minus 1 by V1, and that 1 by V1 is getting cancelled. And you are finding 1 by V minus 1 by equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2. You are getting the final equation. Clear? Next, if the combination is replaced by a thin single lens, if both the lenses, whatever is combined, if you consider it is a lens, convex lens, the convex lens, if you consider it, you think it as a single lens, then what will be the formula? Single lens of focal length, capital F, focal length F, so that it forms the image of object O at the same position. So what will be the formula for a combined lens? Then you can imagine that combined lens formula is 1 by V minus 1 by U equal to 1 by F. F is the focal length of the combination. This is by individually you already have taken 1 by V minus 1 by U equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2. And here you get it the 1 by V minus 1 by U equal to 1 by F. If you just compare these two equations from equation 3 and equation 4, The right part will be the same. Right side, right part equal to 1 by f equal to 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. So from the equation 3 and 4, we are getting 1 by f equal to 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. This is the lenses are in contact. 1 by f equal to 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. So would you tell me if this is the 1 by f1, if it is the power of the lens A and this is the power of the lens B, the combined power will be P will be equal to P1 plus P2. P will be equal to P1 plus P2. This is the formula, whatever you are getting in contact lenses. When the two lenses are in contact, the relation you are finding 1 by capital F equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2. All of you are clear? All of you clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's very easy, na? Okay. My question is that the important question to Pragya, you just tell me. Lens A
Yes.
and
Sir.
lens B, they are on contact. There is no gap in between the two lenses. If there will be the gap, A and B, if there is a gap, it is D, small d. If the small d is the gap between the two lenses, what will be the focal length of the combination? Mashumedo, what is the focal length of the combination? Mushkan?
Sir, 1
Sushma?
by F1 plus D plus 1 by F2.
1 by capital F equal to 1 by
1 by F1 plus D plus 1 by F2.
F2. How do you know it, or it's just blankly you are telling?
Sir, guessing.
Or who can? No.
Sir, 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2 D1
Okay, that I will be finding 1 by capital F equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2 minus D by F1 F2. 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2 minus D by F1 F2. If there is a gap, and that is the extra formula just you have to remember. And this derivation can be extended for several thin lenses of focal length F1, F2, F3 in contact. The effective focal length of the combination, if many number of are combined, if the many number of lenses are to be combined, then 1 by F equivalent focal length, 1 by F equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2 plus 1 by F3. Actually, this is the F3, F3 plus dot 1 by Fn, and that is not F. Okay, and in this manner, because you know the power equal to 1 by F, the power equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus Pn. In this manner, you can get the net power. The power of a combination of lenses in contact is the algebraic sum of the powers of the individual lenses. Power simply it will be added. Okay? You just do this question. Two thin lenses of power plus 4D and minus 2D are in contact. What is the focal length of the combination? What is the focal length of the combination? Two thin lenses of power plus 4D and minus 2D are in contact. What is the focal length of the combination? Anybody? Palak? Palak, that you tell me. What is the focal length of the combination? 50 centimeter.
2. Sir, 2.
37.
Sir, 2.
2 centimeters.
2. What will be the net power calculated? P1 plus P2. P1. Actually, that you know that power of convex lens is plus and power of concave lens is minus. So 4 plus minus 2, that is equal to plus 2 diopter. power. And you know that focal length f equal to 1 by p and f equal to 1 by 2, that is equal to 0.5 meter or 50 centimeter. Simple question, contact. Yeah? Your getting power will be added. F equal to 1 by 0.5 meter or 50 centimeter. Clear? Next, two thin lenses of power minus 2D and 2D are placed in contact coaxially. What is the focal length of the combination? Anybody can tell? What is the
So
focal
infinite.
focal
Sir,
length?
infinite. Yes, sir.
Who is telling Avas?
Yes, sir.
Avas, whenever I tell to send the undertaking, in that manner you have to send the undertaking. Huh? And you have sent the data for 3 times, 2 times, 3 times. What is happening? That indicates your brain is not stable.
No, sir, my network is lagging. That's why.
That is why you have applied 3 times. For 3 times, your network is active. Power of combination minus 2D plus 2D equal to 0. And focal length equal to 1 by power 1 by 0, that is infinite. The focal length is infinite. Next, anybody can tell me which of the following is a true statement? Which of the following is a true statement?
Sir, C.
I don't know. You tell me. The power of a lens is always positive.
Sir, C.
C.
Just tell me,
Yes.
analyze.
Sir, C.
The power of a lens is always
Sir,
positive.
C.
Okay, that the power of a lens is always positive. No.
No, sir.
For convex lens, it is positive. Concave lens, it is negative. No. The power of lens is always negative. No. The power of a convex lens is positive. I think it is correct. The
Yes, sir.
power of concave lens is positive. गलत नहीं है concave. So C is the answer. Very good. Next, let us discuss the refraction through a prism. All
सर
the, what happened?
सर लेकिन वो आप बताए थे ना कि जब एक डिस्टेंस में रहेगा तो वो फॉर्मूला कैसे आया था सर? -d/f1 f2.
That is not part of your derivation. That is not coming in the examination, and that will be coming if you are sitting for the any competitive examination. You can do this one also. That is
Yes,
a types of derivation. तुम्हारा CBSE level में नहीं है वो derivation है. Just
yes, sir.
for extra knowledge के लिए know it. फिर if I add that derivation, that it will be unnecessarily will be loaded for the CBSE examination. Don't
Yes, sir.
that one. Only just remember the formula, the additional formula. Refraction
Yes, sir.
prism. Okay, this is the prism, and you must be knowing that is the how the refraction phenomena takes place through the prism. Clear? Here I would like to tell you the prism, which phenomena are taking place through the prism. That is the refraction. Another is the dispersion also takes place through the dispersion. The question is, whenever you ask for the dispersion, why the prism disperses, why doesn't the glass slab disperses? A glass slab does not disperse color, ray of light, but prism disperses. If you think for that, because glass slab is made up of glass, prism is also made up of glass. Shapes are different. The dispersion phenomena in the prism is because of that only quantity. That part we will be discussing now here. For what actually dispersion phenomena takes place, that is the angle of deviation. We are talking about this is the angle of deviation. Angle of deviation is a very important term. Angle of deviation. I think from the ray diagram, you look on this ray diagram. On one page, you draw the diagram also. By yourself, you draw the diagram, how it is taking places. In prism, listen, this is the prism OA. From OA side, it is actually a rectangular surface. You must guess it also. OB side is also rectangular side. And that front side, whatever you are seeing, AOB, that is a triangular face. On the back side, that is a triangular face. And below, you will be finding one rectangular face, that is the base. AB side. AB side, AB, if you just extend it back, you'll be finding a rectangular surfaces. So how many surfaces are there in the prism? That you are finding the 3 surfaces in the prism. Out of that, AOB is the triangular surface, and on the back of that one we'll be finding one triangular surface, and the remaining is the 3 rectangular surfaces. Out of 3 rectangular surfaces, prism is standing by one rectangular surface, AB standing by one rectangular surface, and other 2 surfaces, OA and OB. That is actually surfaces are extended back. Other 2 rectangular surfaces are called the refracting surfaces. Refraction phenomenon, refraction of light takes place through that surface, that 2 rectangular. So that AB surface is called the base, and AO and OB is the refracting surface. Clear? And here what happens here, suppose a ray of light is coming and striking on the first refracting surface OA. The first refracting surface, so it gets refracted along Q1. It gets refracted along Q1. Again, this light QR strikes on the surface OB and it comes out RN. Clear? Just to name it, this is the incident ray and QR is the refracted ray and RN is also refracted ray. But as it is coming out of the prism, so we tell it as the emergent ray. And JZS, whatever you are finding, JZS, this is the normal to the surface. This is the normal to the surface. And KKDS is also normal to the surface OB. KKDS is the normal to the surface OB. Important thing is that the ray of light, whenever LQ striking and it is coming out, you must be identifying the angle of incidence. This is the angle of incidence and this is the angle of refraction. Angle of refraction is smaller than the angle of incidence. So the light is coming from rarer to denser medium. So in this case, this is the normal, and this angle, wherever my pointer is pointing, this angle is called the angle of incidence for this surface, and this is the angle of refraction for Rn. So here in this case, the angle of refraction is more than the angle of incidence. So in this case, the refraction is taken from rarer to denser medium. Clear? And the question is what is the angle of incidence? This O is the angle. This angle is called the angle of prism. If this angle will be very thin, for thin prism, if you consider the prism is very thin, this angle will be small. This angle will be small. What is the angle of deviation? Angle of deviation. I am talking about the deviation. Deviation means ray of light. LQ ray is supposed to move along this straight line. LQ ray is supposed to move along this straight line if prism is not there. If prism is not there, then LQ should be moving along this way. And as and when the prism is placed, the rays are bending and finally the final ray is moving along Rn. So this is the angle of incidence and this is the angle of this is the ray of emergent. So initial ray, incident ray and emergent ray, whatever the angle formed is called the angle of deviation. Means this is straight and if it will be produced backward, they are meeting here and this angle will be considered. This angle is called the angle of deviation. This angle is called the angle of deviation, but marked here also this is the same. This is the angle of deviation. How that from the original path the ray is getting deviated. How the ray is deviated from its original path. That is the angle of deviation. I think all the terms you must have understood here. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that again it comes that we have to derive it. What derivation is required here? Because this practical will be done. I will do this practical virtually also. I will do here in my home and you will be finding. and will observation, because this comes in the practical examination. That I have to done it. At least this will be done. Angle of deviation clear, all the term diagram, you just draw the diagram carefully and just again compare the derivation. And we'll be finding the derivation is that refractive index of this prism, refractive index of prism equal to mu equal to sine A plus D by dm by 2 by sine A by 2. Okay, if A is the angle of prism, again you look on the derivation part. Just your diagram, you just look at here, angle of incidence, angle of refraction, R1. Again, R2 is the angle of incidence for the second surface, and angle of emergent, that is E. Emergent or angle of refraction also you tell it. Now let us consider the prism given in the figure. In the quadrilateral PQDC, you just observe PQDC. Sorry, PBDC. PBDC quadrilateral. देखने को मिल रहा है quadrilateral PBDC, and that is this angle. This angle equal to completely, because this is normal, and this angle is 90, and this angle is 90, and this 90 plus 90 180, and this two angle are also 180. So here you get the two of the angles are 90. Which one is the 90? This point is the 90, and this is 90, and this angle plus this angle equal to 180. Then P plus BDC, I think P plus BDC, this angle is 90, and this angle is also, you are finding 90. That is P plus BDC, 1 equal to 80. You are finding P plus BDC, this angle P, and this angle. How much you are finding? This is equal to
180.
180. Clear? P plus BDC is 180. So just to remember, in triangle BDC, all of you see the triangle BDC. In triangle BDC, what you are observing? What your observation is there? Tell me. From triangle BDC, you will be getting one observation. What thing I want to write it now? That thing I am writing. R1 angle plus R2 angle plus BDC equal to 180. This angle plus this angle plus this equal to 180. And R1 plus R2 equal to P. Will you देखो? This angle plus this angle is 180. And 3 angle, that is R1 plus R2 plus D, also 180. So automatically which one angle will be? R1 plus R2 will be P. R1 angle and R2 angle will be P. This part is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This angle,
Yes, sir.
this. Just get clear. This angle I am telling. This angle plus this angle, that is 180. Clear? And this R1, R2 and plus this is 180. Just equalize these both. So which angle will be cancelled? That is, this plus this equal to 180, and these three are 180. Automatically R1 plus R2 equal to PD. R1 equal to P. R1 plus R2 equal to P. You are finding R1 plus R2 equal to P. Clear? No problem? Next.
No, sir.
Now we can define the total deviation as the sum of the deviation are the two surfaces. We have to find the total deviation. Total deviation already I have mentioned here phi. Whatever you can write the D also, no problem. That is the deviation, angle of deviation. So we have to find out the total deviation. So what will be the total deviation? Just to look on here. That phi equal to, this is the triangle, ABC triangle. ABC triangle, the outer angle is phi. And this outer angle is phi equal to this angle plus this angle. So what will be this angle? This angle equal to I minus R1. This okay or not? I minus R1. So just I am doing it. This is I, totally the I. This angle is totally I. And this angle also opposite I. This angle is I. And what will be this part? This part equal to I minus okay, I minus how much it is? R1, 9. Yes or no? And in this manner, this will be equal to E minus R2, because E is this one. You are finding my pointer. E, this is the R1, E minus, that is, this will be the E minus R2. You get it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So,
Yes.
this angle is the,
Yes.
this angle equal to I minus R1, this angle equal to E minus R2, and this angle is the outer angle, phi. So outer angle equal to sum of the inner two angle, I minus R1 plus E minus R2. That part I have done it here. So I minus R1 plus E minus R2. We get it now? Another thing is that, clear? Now phi equal to, you look it here now, phi equal to that phi, I plus E minus A. How it is? Because that is, you know, you just open this, this open equal to I plus E minus R1 plus R2. I think this is your understanding. This step you must be understanding what I am doing it. But this is I plus E minus bracket start R1 plus R2. But R1 plus R2 equal to how much you are knowing? A. A means angle of, that is this A, actually angle of incident. Already you have taken this one, na? R1 plus R2 equal to A. But actually it should be, what
P.
thing you have taken? P, yeah? Okay, just make it correction it is. In place of, you can put it A, angle of prism. This is the angle of prism. This is the P. Phi. Clear? Thus, we can conclude that angle of deviation depends on the angle of incidence. When the deviation is minimum, so what will happen? That is phi equal to I plus E minus A. When the deviation is minimum, the refractory ray becomes parallel. In case of minimum, in what case actually this angle of deviation will be minimum? When you get the angle of deviation, minimum angle of deviation, whenever this refracted ray is parallel to the base, and I will be equal to E. Angle of incidence will be angle of emergent, and that is accordingly R1 will be equal to R2. This is the condition. When the deviation is minimum, the refracted ray becomes parallel to the base of the prism. This is the condition of minimum deviation. Let D minimum denote the minimum deviation, which is equal to the angle of deviation phi. In the same case of minimum deviation, angle of incidence is equal to the angle of refraction, and I equal to E, R1 equal to R2, and BC is equal to parallel to BT. Matlab, this refracted ray is parallel to the base of the prism. I think you must be clear. And you are getting two formulas here. You just underline the formulas. R1 plus R2 equal to P, that is the angle of prism. You write on the bracket angle of prism, and the phi equal to I plus E minus P. And in place of this is write the P. Here in this case you can write the P. Next, from equation 3, what you are getting, if minimum deviation के लिए the R1 equal to R2, then P will be considered as the R, that is 2R, P equal to 2R. And again, R equal to P by 2. As you are getting R equal to P by 2, similarly from the equation 4, what you are getting, D minimum, angle of deviation, D minimum, because I equal to E, I equal to E, that is in place of I, you have written the E, because I के साथ same है, that is the 2I minus P, or I equal to, how much you are finding, I equal to P plus dm by 2. You are getting I equal to P plus dm by 2. And you should not be confused, actually that is A and P, you are making it confused. I am making it P, directly. Just a minute, you should not confused here. That A, actually this is not the A, this is P, this is P, and 2I, I think it is now clear already, that is for minimum deviation we have written this one. Clear, that is D minimum equal to 2I minus P, or I equal to P plus dm by 2. Up to this, all of you are understanding?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yes,
Next,
sir.
next, the refractive index. You know the prism formula, that mu equal to, mu equal to, what is the formula for the Snell's law? What is the Snell's law for? You tell me. Mu equal to sin.
Sin by sin R.
By sin R.
So in place of I, you can write P plus
Sign up.
and sin P by 2. R equal to P by 2. This thing you are getting or not? Sin P plus dm by 2 by sin
Yes.
P. And this is the required equation. We have to derive it for the refractive index of the prism. That is the prism, that is also told as the prism formula. Clear? This is the prism formula. You have to write down this one. How that graph will be there? The angle of deviation versus angle of incidence. Angle of incidence versus angle of deviation. You plot the graph becomes like that. It will be falling down like that, like that, like that, in this way. What will happen in this way? It will fall down. And if you just take the tangent here, that at the minimum angle of deviation, this is the minimum angle of deviation. Means if the incident ray will increase and you get the angle of deviation. Suppose, for example, if I am taking it, whenever you start considering the 30-degree angle incident, the angle of deviation will be 24 or 26, like that. If you increase 45, then that will decrease, angle of deviation will decrease. If you increase the angle of incidence 45, 60, like that, finally the angle of deviation will be reduced and reduced, and a certain minimum value, again the angle of deviation will be increased. So we have to solve that point where the angle of deviation is becoming minimum, then after it should be increased. Suppose if it is this value is, you tell it as the 26 degree, this value you tell it as the 22, that is 21, that is this is 20, and again it will be 25, 28, 30, like that. So this will be the minimum angle of deviation. That is the practical, we will be finding this experiment. Okay. Okay. And I think your time is over. Okay, all of you log out, and the next class we'll be discussing more.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Recording.